A long time ago I met my best friend through his sister who I met at college. A long time ago I met my best friend through his sister who I met at college. If I went into details on how that happened, this post would be really long, so long story short, I ended up living with 3 girls and myself 18 meters in a 3-bedroom apartment at the time. One of those girls was my best friend's sister and he later moved in with us. That's how I met him. This story is about my best friend Jack and his sister Dina. Fast forward a couple of years and Jack was offered a 4-bedroom house to rent from someone from his work. He offered me a room, Dina and her BF the master, and another friend of his I never met named Tanner a room. It was a nice setup. The house was big and we had a lot of room if we wanted to throw a big ass party. Which we did. Since I had the smallest room, I was paying $250. Jack was paying $400. Tanner was paying $450 since he had his own bathroom, and Dina and her BF were paying $600 for the huge master. Rent was $1,700 in the early 2000s for that huge place. Let me tell you a little about Dina. Selfish to the core. She's pretty, but her attitude makes her ugly. She thinks she's hot shit and will treat men like shit. Those type that make you chase her if you want even a slight chance with her. The type if you got her a flower at the club and she responds with, "If you want to give me flowers, you need to buy all my friends flowers." Extremely judgmental of any girlfriend I had. Just a total twat. She's always broke, always needing to call mommy for money or borrow money that she will never pay back. Jack has been on the receiving end of this and was just so tired of her shit, but their mom would always throw the whole family first bullshit. Dina is also the type of girl who only dates military men. She wants those military benefits. So every boyfriend she had was either Navy or Marine. Years down the line she did marry a Marine, had a kid, divorced him, and is getting benefits. He hates her guts. Anyway, moving day came in and of course Dina was very happy about her new master bedroom with a huge shower, jacuzzi tub, 2 closets, etc. But get this, when Dina and her BF moved out of the apartment, her BF didn't head south to the house, he headed north and moved back in with his parents. He broke up with her lol. Jack reminded Dina that she's still expected to pay the $600 rent no matter what. I remember this and all she said was sure, okay. As you might have guessed, rent was due and she handed Jack $300. She told him, "This is my half of the rent for the room. If you want the other half, go ask her ex-BF for it." Jack was pissed and since he didn't want to be short on rent to his coworker, he covered her half. This went on for about 3 months. The house was hell during this time cuz he was constantly pounding on her door asking for the rest of the rent, plus other funds she still owed him. One day I was woken up by Jack and he told me he needed my help. What did he need help with? Kicking Dina out of the master and moving himself in there since he's paying $600 anyway. Made sense to me. This guy somehow took her key to the room and copied it. We entered her room and man, this girl was dirty AF. Her toilet, tub, and sink were gross. She had clothes all over the floor and there was a pungent smell. We used my room as a staging area for his things and we proceeded to move her things into his former room. Now I feel that if someone were handling my things, I would hope they would be respectful. So I was doing my best to move her stuff and set them similarly to how she had them in her room. Not Jack. The dude was practically putting her stuff into her new room. Every single thing he carried over there he threw as hard as he could. The guy was releasing some much needed stress. Even though I too hated this bitch, I just didn't feel right to do that to someone. We moved his stuff in, he swapped the locks on the doors and all was set. He didn't want to be home when she came home so we went to the movies. He shut his phone off until after the movie was over. He had many voicemails from both Dina and their mom. He called his mom, who feels Dina could do no wrong and pretty much told her off as well on how shitty of a daughter she raised and she's a shitty mother for still supporting her even though she's burned him so many times. The thing we both felt bad about was our roommate Tanner. Fuck man, that poor guy. We did not even think about him when we left cuz he was at work. He was home chilling in the living room watching TV when she came home with some new sucker she was seeing. The cool thing is that we know how this part of the story went since Tanner was present. So she gets home, ignores Tanner, goes upstairs and tries to unlock her door. Tanner said that all he heard was, "What the hell, my key isn't working." Long pause, wait a minute. He said she then heads over to her new door and surprise, the key worked. He told us that he heard all along, "Oh my god. Tanner said that she actually went in there with her new guy and he could hear her ruffling through her stuff. Poor Tanner. Dina comes down and starts yelling at him as if he was a part of it. He really had no idea. But of course Dina being Dina was just lashing out at the nearest victim. Tanner said that she left the house while calling someone on her phone. He later went off on us for not giving him a heads up. He was right, totally our bad. We suck. The shitty part of all this was I was now sharing a bathroom with her. Dina is a very conniving person. I have known her for a few years now at that point and I knew she would try to take things out on me as well. I left everything I had in the bathroom as is, but I used new items that I kept in my room like my toothbrush, toothpaste, Q-tips, hair gel, shower gel, and shampoo. I did not want to risk this bitch tampering with anything I was going to be using. I could already picture her getting my toothbrush and rubbing it in the toilet. I had a decent rug in the bathroom and within the first week there was already stuff smeared into it. I shit you not, this bitch was just a shitty overall person. The shower curtain had one torn ring hole from Jack probably grabbing it too hard, so this was her excuse to throwing it away and expecting me to buy a new one. One thing she didn't know about me is that you should never underestimate my pettiness of dealing with your bullshit. I took a shower without that shower curtain for a whole week. That means she did as well. Then one day, a brand new shower curtain was now in place. It was girly but I didn't give a flying fuck. Second story. I had a coworker who ran into family issues that was not her fault. Too long of a story to tell, but I let her stay with me rent-free until she was able to get her situation sorted. This girl cleaned the shared bathroom that we shared with Dina, washed dishes, mopped the floors, and did all she could to help. Around 4 months I told her if she wanted to continue to stay with me, she needs to start paying rent. She did eventually. Anyway, Dina found out she was staying with me rent-free and would make passive-aggressive remarks about people who don't pay rent should get the fuck out. I guess I get it, but this girl had 2 jobs so she was only in the house when she needed to sleep and she cleaned up the house. So it was a total win. I think Dina was just jealous there was another woman in the house who I think was prettier than Dina. Eventually Dina moved out, but Dina being Dina, she was kicked out of her place for being late on rent. Where did she turn to? Jack, of course. However, we already had a new roommate in her old room, so Jack told her she could sleep on the futon that we had in the dining room. She was not allowed in the living room. We had some girls over one night and they noticed Dina sleeping on the futon and they were like, "Should we be quiet cuz that person is trying to sleep?" Jack said out loud, "Fuck that bitch. She doesn't pay rent. Anyone who doesn't pay rent can get the fuck out if they don't like it here." Damn, that was brutal. Not only that, but we were playing the drinking version of Jenga in the kitchen bar area and so those wooden blocks falling on tile and the floor was extremely loud, not to mention us getting more intoxicated and louder. Lol, fuck Dina. Mini petty revenge from me. She was dating a Navy guy and she was set on moving out to move in with him. Cool, not my business. However, he asked me to be honest with him about Dina. He knew that I knew her the longest besides her brother, but he wanted to know more details about her from me, cuz he had suspicions. I was real with him. I told him that if I was in his shoes, I would not move in with her. She's a gold digger. She's after his benefits and he will be paying a lot of money just to be with her. He sat there quiet and he told me that she did tell him that he would be responsible for paying for all the furniture and other items in the apartment. He thanked me and I never saw him again. Lol. Those were the days. Best friend Jack removed his sister from the master bedroom of the house for not paying her share of the rent in the best way I could imagine. His sister is a major twat and deserves everything that happened to her.